Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady checking in with another video from the Royal Tasmanian Botanical Garden here in Hobart, Tasmania, which is a really delightful place to visit, and the plant diversity is unmatched. This is a climate that never really freezes but is never really hot, so they can grow things like salvia and they can also grow things like tree ferns. So without further ado, let me turn this camera around so that I can show you more visions from this spectacular garden. I don't see a name for the salvia, and it's definitely not uliginosa. I'm not gonna try and guess what it is, but it's really nice, tall, upright, great pollinator activity on it. And it's, flanking the lily pond, which is really incredible. And here we've got miscanthus. Over there, that variegated is Arundodonax. I'm gonna freak out if that's a phormium, that enormous thing, because again, phormiums don't get that size. But what's so crazy cool about this place is how you can have these tropical things, and then you can also have cold-loving things like hostas. And here's Carex. This is probably Everillo. Again, I don't see a label, but so it's just a really interesting environment. No, this is not Alstroemeria. I'm not sure what this is. Let's see. Some of the herbaceous stuff isn't labeled as well as the woody material, but nonetheless, it's such a remarkable garden. I've been to a lot of botanical gardens in my life, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this one is ranking very, very much near the top of the list. Well, when I got here, they described this as very Monet-esque, and I would say they are spot on with that. Really beautiful. Here's that Arundodonax. I don't recommend planting in the southeast US because it's so aggressive. And it looks like our native, no, this is not our native, Iris pseudoacorus, the yellow flag, has already been cut back. And okay, this is not phormium, but let's hope there's a label because I need to know what this monstrosity is. Oh my gosh. I don't know what it is, but it's really amazing. And look at the seed heads, the flower heads here. Maybe it's labeled on the other side. Now, you guys, they can grow Gunnera. Yeah, there are no words. Gunnera, the largest leaf plant in the world, does not tolerate the heat and humidity of the southeast US. Look at how amazing it is. I mean, just for scale, here's my hand, and that is one leaf. So this is actually a native to Colombia, and I don't think I've really ever had an opportunity to get up close and personal like I am right now. I'm assuming this is the flowering body / seed head. This is the new growth shoot. And you see it creates these huge stalks. Everything about this plant is impressive. And you see it's very thorny, which helps protect it from animals that might come through and try browsing it. You see it's growing literally over the water. It's so exciting to see this wall of Gunnera. You can see this out west, the west coast of the US, they grow this well. Well, on the other side of the Gunnera, we've got some very familiar plants. Here we've got Phlomis fruticosa, which, I grow driveway adjacent at the Blue House. Next to that, we have Nepeta phascenii, the catmint, just a great flowering perennial that deer leave alone. And here we've got Bergenia, which doesn't do as well for me because of my high water table, but another really great perennial plant to include in your garden. here we've got a nice small plant of Proteopsis jackmontiana. This is one of my favorite trees. In the US, this gets really intense fall color. And then one of my other favorite bulbs, this is Zephyranthes candida. And I hadn't seen any until today, and I've been in a few gardens with great bulb collections, and they didn't have any Zephyranthes or Hybranthus. So I thought maybe they didn't do well, but here it's planted, rock adjacent, for good drainage. And though they don't get much rain here, I guess they get enough because you can see it has flowered and it has small seed heads on it. Well, from this scope, you can get a better idea of how impressive this conifer collection is and how I didn't really do that good of a job showing you. And there are conifers everywhere. The bad thing is I haven't made it very far in the garden and I have a lot of ground to cover. I'm gonna have to speed it up because I actually am on a time schedule and it's not brie time. Well, as you can see, this Camellias sasanquas are in bloom. Not sure what cultivar that is. It might be Conjero. This is like a wall of camellias. Again, they do really well here. Then look on this side, we've got a beautiful rhododendron in full flower. And I'm searching for the label, but it's planted pretty far in. I don't think that it's this. This is a different one, rhododendron. I don't actually know how to say that. And here we've got a Daphne in bloom. And then this is actually the first osmanthus that I've seen since I've been in Tasmania. And you know, I'm a big osmanthus fan. This looks like Heterophilus. It's got a nice floral fragrance. It's definitely not osmanthus fragrance. But you know, one of my favorite broadleaf evergreens. And here it is growing underneath a monster hedge of camellias. There was a section of the garden that was brie friendly. It's this one right here. It is. Oh, it's Osmanthus heterophilus purpureus, which is the purple new growth form of Osmanthus heterophilus. I used to grow this at Camellia Forest. Oh, it's exciting. I don't see any new growth to be able to show you, but the new growth is really a beautiful purple. Well, this sweet little camellia looks super familiar. It might be slim and trim. I don't see a label. It's really nice, super petite foliage and, you know, really interesting star-like flowers. And I'm not sure what this garden is actually called, but it's where I feel very comfortable and familiar because, well, there's so many camellias. What can I say? I'm a camellia enthusiast. I can't help myself. But you know, one side are all predominantly Asian native broadleaf evergreens, which is my specialty. And then the other side are ferns and various other woodies that I don't fully recognize. I could probably spend a week just in this garden and still not see it all. As I mentioned, I'm on a time schedule, so I've got to pick up the pace. Oh, I just love signage so much. So, Huon pine. Not something I'm familiar with at all. And that is this right here. And it's not a pinus at all. But I bought earrings made from this, and it's a really important plant here in Tasmania. And it has a great smell. Oh, it's highly flammable, great for timber. Overall, really cool plant that I definitely would have thought was more like a cupressus, but is not. Let's see, this is a whole wall of these. Here's some more information. It is not a pine. Thank you. It's more closely related to Podocarpus, so that is really interesting. It likes wet feet, which is really strange for conifers, and you need both male and female in order to produce fertile cones. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself because this Huon pine section is part of the rainforest understory garden, and I'm gonna go back down this way and continue this video focusing on, I think, more of these Asian native broadleaf evergreens, including, rhododendron. Here we have dianthus, lots of camellias. I didn't see a sign identifying specifically what this section of the garden was called, but it's also nice and quiet. The garden is full of visitors. Makes it a little bit weird for me to be walking around with my selfie stick talking to my cell phone. I've gotten used to it. It's spectacular everywhere you look. I don't know what that orange flower is, but it's cool. And lots of rhododendrons. Look at this cyclamen colchicum patch. Cyclamen do extremely well here. As I mentioned, 18 inches of rainfall annually. Hobart is the second driest capital in Australia, second to Adelaide, which I have not been to, that province or state, whatever they call it. But I think that my addiction to Australia is growing significantly, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my bucket list to visit all the states in this vast continent. It's also really interesting to me that the mainland Australia, here I'm on an island south of the main part of Australia, and Tasmania is a state of Australia, but it's an island completely segregated by water. But the mainland Australia is nearly the same square footage as the United States. However, on maps, because those are typically drawn by people in the Northern Hemisphere, they shrink the continent of Australia to make it seem smaller, which is really stupid. So this is a vast country. It's a 5-hour plane ride from Brisbane to Perth, which is essentially Atlanta to LA. So it's not like a small little place where you're just gonna drive around and see it all. I mean, even Tasmania in and of itself, it's hours to get across the island. I think Americans generally don't have a great perception of how large down under actually is. The caliper of these conifers just keeps blowing my mind. This is Taxodium mucronatum, the Mexican cypress. Honestly, I don't know that I've actually ever seen this. And it's a deciduous conifer. All taxodiums are deciduous conifers, but look at the form of this one. Look at how enormous it is. So we grow Taxodium distichum. That's a native to North Carolina. This is the native to Mexico, and a really, really impressive plant here. Growing adjacent to this Mexican Taxodium, got a really nice stand of Hydrangea macrophylla. You see nice newer flowers, older flowers fading. They do get powdery mildew here, and the leaves are looking a bit covered in powdery mildew. And then next to it, another awesome rhododendron. This one is called Robin. So it's obviously a hybrid. Nice kind of purple to white blooms. It's a really large plant. Really large plant. Well, walking down that staircase just brought me to the most impressive tree collection. So behind me is Fagus sylvatica. Wonderful beech. And then behind me, Betula pendula youngii. Look at that. Super incredible. I'm so in love with this botanical garden. I can't even explain it. And then actually underneath the Fagus is a wonderful ground cover of cyclamen that are all blooming now. And then behind me is this beautiful arch, and I'm not actually sure of its meaning, but I'm gonna go find out. But I do hope that you will plan to tune in for another video right here from the absolutely magnificent Royal Tasmanian Botanical Garden. As always, thanks for watching and happy gardening.